My name is Caroline Poynton from Manchester. I am recording this from YouTube today because I'm not copyrighting YouTube. I'm paying fucking attention. Rupert Lowe. And I'm glad he's not. I'm glad the mainstream media. This is why I like to do my own recording. So I'm not trying to copyright or anything. I'm just trying to put my voice in to say what I want to say. I'm quite glad that the mainstream media don't want that Rupert Lowe on the channels, because I'm glad that they don't, because I hope Rupert Lowe doesn't want to go on the mainstream media, any mainstream media channels. I hope he doesn't, because they're so corrupted. They corrupt everything. And I wouldn't trust him for Rupert Lowe to go on there for him not to corrupt something. Because they corrupt one word, they'll just anything, one word he might say, and that's it. They'll slice it and do everything like they did to Trump or anybody else. So I'm glad he won't go on. I'm glad the mainstream media channels don't want him on, because I personally think that Rupert Lowe needs to get his own mainstream media channel up and going, personally, with proper patriot people, some people from YouTube channels, you know, the people that are doing some of these YouTube channels like Maratusi, Dan Watson, so other people, there's some people that are stabbing people in the back on these YouTube channels as well, like Paul Vaughan and Richard Hillman, and I did go a bit too harsh on what I did say, and maybe I should take a few things back, yeah, but I'm not taking things back if they're going to want to be on the wrong fucking side. No, if they want to join fucking Nigel Farage or Pedo Starmer, then the way I see this is they're joining the pedo gangs for themselves. Now, they're all in the fucking pedo gangs. Nigel Farage is in the pedo gangs as much as Keir Starmer to me now, because he lied. He got all these people voting for him because he said he was going to deal with the grooming gangs and immigration and stuff. Right, and he lied, and especially with the grooming gangs. He fucking lied about that. I don't care. He used people that have been abused by whatever, rapes and everything, vulnerable people, victims, to get his fucking way and get them votes or whatever. So they might not have done the crime, yeah, but because they're all complicit and covering it up case down, they all don't want to do inquiries. Well, that means they're all complicit into the crimes. So that's said, that's why they're all in the pedo gangs. And the only one that hasn't fucking joined their gangs, there's a couple of people are slowly not joining their gangs, hopefully. But there's the people that are joining their gangs that can go and join their gangs, because then they're in the pedo gang, and I'm not changing my mind. I don't give a fuck. That's the fucking join. That's the side they're joining. Because the way I see this is two sides. You're joining the A side or the fucking B side. There is no right or left. Is it the B side or the A side? Is it the A team or the B team? Fucking hell, we're going to go with fucking, that's what I'm going to say. Fucking hell, what are they? Oh my God, the A team, fucking hell. That's the fucking thing, isn't it? The A team, the fucking figure. Oh, we're going to go with fucking the Devils. Pedos, because I call pedos the Devils. Fucking poltergeist is a fucking pedo. Yep.
Aim high, vote low. If you're a patriot who wants to restore Britain back to where it belongs, then hit the like button, subscribe, and get in the comment section. As in today's video, we share some major announcements from Rupert Lowe, and some that I'm so proud to be a fellow patriot alongside him. We're going to be looking at the following. It is International Women's Day today, and instead of the usual bullshit drivel that you see copy and pasted from ChatGPT onto many politicians and other outlets' social media posts, Rupert Lowe gives one to the heart, one that you, as a woman and someone as a man, wants to stand back and look and read. And yes, there are only two genders. Number two, we're going to be looking at the idea of the flag raising. The government think it's a tool of hatred, and Rupert Lowe's got two words to respond to that. And finally, Rupert Lowe's betting odds. Now, not one to push this, But you need to see how much this market has changed and how serious Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain are to becoming Prime Minister and the party that rules us in the next general election. All of that to come in today's video, so make sure you lock in, as True Brit Media is here to speak, deliver and expose the truth. Let me go to the flag one, because I need to get it off my chest before I go into his patriotic speech about International Women's Day. First and foremost, have a look at this. The government have said that raising a flag or putting a flag out in the streets is a tool of hate, in which the government's new social cohesion strategy has labelled our glorious flag. Apparently, the government have got this new idea to try and get us all happy and waving flags and smiling and all unicorns and rainbows, the social cohesion strategy. And they said if you remove flags, it might make a bit of a difference. Well, Restore Britain's official response to their strategy is sod off. And you can see Rupert Lowe raising proudly
and there is no gays in the Catholic Church, and there is no gays in the Christian Church.
Right now. And if you have
Mary Poynton is Catholic, the first Catholic settlers in New Zealand
as well.
belonging to me,
let's
my
get into the next story,
ancestors.
the one that I'm proud to read. Now,
there is definitely no gays in the Catholic world.
Because this is a man who really cares about the women of this country. And he cares about not just being all words, but he's all about action. And that's why we love Rupert Lowe. I've never seen a politician speak so clearly, so precisely, and so poignant in what he's trying to deliver. So have a read of this, and I'm going to read it as best I can and not butcher it for you guys. But it says here, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure plenty will try, but British women don't particularly care about these boring template social media posts from politicians for International Women's Day. We're all fed up with this meaningless bullshit that we constantly get from MPs. It means nothing, it achieves nothing, and it changes nothing ever. It's my view that British women would rather politicians put their efforts into making our communities safe again, secure and welcoming, where women feel comfortable walking through town without a man alongside them, or free to enjoy a night out with foreign perverts and illegal migrants leering and grabbing at them. And yes, of course there are British creeps and abusers. We all know that. Sadly, we can't deport them. Prison will have to suffice. But we can remove the foreign ones, and so we should, in the many, many, many thousands. I love that. Or maybe they prefer politicians to stop indulging these mad fantasies that a man can become a woman. So blatantly degrading what even it is to be a woman. Let's go one further. MPs could virtually ban biological men from women's sports spaces and prisons. I would certainly cast my vote in favour. Restore Britain would scrap the Gender Recognition Act and impose strict legal protections for single-sex spaces. Action, not words. I suspect that's something the vast majority of British women can get behind. What about creating a community where women and their husbands feel financially secure enough to raise a family, possibly have more children if they choose? A country that feels safe enough to actually build that life.
And we need men back, our own men, our white British white men, not fucking all this.
That's what I want. That's what Restore Britain wants. The government should have to stop the ongoing rape of Britain. No, endless horrible girls who be raped by gangs of foreign men. Many being trafficked overseas, but they still remain. Is that wrong poor enough? Clearly it isn't. And it makes me sick thinking about the lack of any appetite to tackle it from this government.
I'm not
Furious
being funny.
doesn't cover it.
It's not nice.
Everything has to change. All of it. Not minor tinkering or reform. Absolute restoration is required. Love that play on words as well about reform and restore.
It's not their fault.
British women are every bit as patriotic as us men. They might not shout as much about it. Millions and millions and millions of British women want to restore our country to a nation they are proud to call home. So please, politicians must now spare these empty platitudes that are entirely pointless. It's my view that British women now want action. No more talk, action. Far-reaching, radical, ruthless action to protect their interests, their safety and their families.
Not wrong.
There's a political party now dedicated to doing all of this. Restore Britain. I'm so proud that millions of women are putting their faith in us and breathe. But such an important message. And I agree completely with Rupert Lowe.
Yeah, I do.
Women must feel safe. Women must feel secure. And that is down to the community, the society in which we build. Right now, many women will tell you they do not feel safe on our streets, in our homes, and safe to bring up children.
Men ain't safe. Our men ain't
and it is our job.
Our boys ain't
safe. It is our job as a community,
our young boys,
as a party,
they're being killed and murdered as well.
So this is no bullshit, is it? As you said, this stop these fluffy words about what it means to be International Women's Day. This stop these sort of gestures and tokens, and let's start making changes. So I, for one, am absolutely proud of Restore Britain's stance on women and how they want to protect women, and their clear ideologies on this woke pandering ideology.
For somebody else.
So let's go on then to the next part, which is this. And by the way, if you are a woman and you are someone who feels what Rupert Lowe said is true, correct, and you agree with, then please let me know. As for men as well, what's your thoughts on that stance? Fantastic, I'm sure. Okay, finally then.
I'm fucking German.
Westminster is in absolute panic mode this morning. A massive, unprecedented political earthquake just shattered the race for number 10, and the establishment is terrified. In the last 24 hours, a staggering 56% of all political bets have suddenly backed ultimate outsider Rupert Lowe to become the next Prime Minister. Bookmakers were forced into an emergency correction, violently slashing his odds from 20 to 1 down to 12 to 1 overnight. The smart money never lies. The traditional political elites are completely losing control of the narrative. Discover why millions are quietly mobilising behind the ultimate Westminster wrecking ball. And do you know what the crazy thing is? This is even without mainstream media coverage, by the way.
Yeah, and I won't mind
Wait till that
yeah, well,
we
need
happens.
To do one for it.
Because it will.
Because I'm going back
and a lot of people are going, oh, this is fake news.
No, it's not.
How are you getting all these statistics? Blah, blah, blah.
Nah.
You need to be known that this, again, has been fact-checked, it is correct, and this is the direction. And I've got someone who 7 hours ago posted this online to prove to you as well that these odds do exist. Rupert Lowe now in at 14 to 1, and Ant Middleton, the next UK London Mayor, at 11 to 1. If you like the look of that, then you can see that really this change is coming. Only 3 weeks ago, before Restore Britain existed, Rupert Lowe was something like between 50 to 33 to 1.
To train the next people.
Now again, I'm not here endorsing any gambling. This is not a gambling product, but this is me to highlight and alleviate the point.
We're going to have to throw out
the more people are recognising the power of Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, it is starting to spread into mainstream. There are too many deniers out there. There are too many people trying to silence Restore and Rupert Lowe. There are too many people wishing this is going to be a small bang. I know it will basically the flame will go. No,
bang, but I want him to
this ball is moving.
Media channel first.
The name Rupert Lowe
and
is
then
spread around society,
get his
communities,
own main
homes,
media
schools,
channel,
everywhere.
Then
Rupert Lowe's name and Restore Britain's name needs to be heard proudly.
Yeah,
and
it's heard around the world.
So that is
Australia, America,
and finally, again, I've touched on this on the earlier video of what I said about Lady Cunningham. But Restore Britain, although they don't want to be recognised in the major polls, because they want to still have Restore down as other. If you just take the polls, for example, and put other as Restore Britain, this is major news here. Restore are coming in at between 7 to 9%. They are hot on the tail of the Lib Dems and Green Party, and I want to be clear on this. This is +2, other is +2, plus Reform are on a -2 slide.
Not that they can vote for
this party's been around for 3 weeks. 110,000 members, polling at 9%, Westminster voting intention. There's still 3 years to go to a general election. Oh boy, I give it another month. Next time you see this,
people around the world. Yeah, but don't mean that just because they might be able to vote doesn't mean they can't sponsor Rupert Lowe around the world.
That's how I see it.
The only insult on this is
do not have Restore Britain as other. Give Restore Britain its own party, its own chance to poll correctly. People, patriotism is right. Patriotism is free. Raise your flag. Fly your flag.
For England.
It is not a tool of hate. It's a tool of pride. But what the government say,
England first in the world.
Rupert Lowe is protecting the women out there, and he will protect the women and make you feel safe. This country, Keir Starmer, the grooming gangs, the epidemic that we have has not protected them and has failed them.
Wow.
And of course, keep spreading the word. And by doing that, you can like, share, subscribe to this video, and that will help spread the word of Restore Britain. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, thank you. See, I love Rupert Lowe. See, when I listen to Rupert Lowe, see how calm I feel. when I listen to Rupert Lowe. Now watch when I listen to
this. It does make you ask that question.
Watch this now when I start listening to this now about these fucking bastards of exactly what they're all doing in fucking Brussels.
The EU has been interfering in elections. That's what US Republicans, think tanks and Hungary say. From pressuring social media companies to censor voices who believe there are only two genders, to installing governments as trusted flaggers to decide the terms of debate online during elections they stand to lose. This month the EU appeared to step up its bid for complete control. Hungary's Viktor Orban, a nemesis of Brussels for his refusal to take in illegal migrants, who has taken a different tack from the rest of Europe on the war in Ukraine, is facing an election which, if successful, would lead to his fifth consecutive term as Prime Minister. He has warred with Ukraine over the past weeks, accusing President Zelensky of interference, which erupted when the Druzhba pipeline, serving Hungary and Slovakia with Russian oil, was stopped and a pumping station later set on fire. Ukraine said this was due to a Russian attack. Hungary believes otherwise. Croatia, another EU member, refused to reroute the supplies. Brussels shrugged. In response, Orban vetoed a €90 billion EU loan to Ukraine.
Like I said in first place,
Brussels, who backed Zelensky.
Russia didn't start the war in
Since
the
the Iran war broke out, Brussels' potentially fearing an energy crisis has softened, demanding Ukraine allow the EU access to the pipeline to check that reported damage is true and that work is underway to repair it. Croatia has suddenly allowed supplies to be rerouted. Then Zelensky upped the rhetoric, threatening Hungary with military action.
Otherwise, we will give the address of this person to our armed forces, our guys. Let them call him and communicate with him in their own language. The next information is that within a month or a half, this oil pipeline could be up and running. But that doesn't mean that what was destroyed will be restored.
Orban is now threatening to block all goods being transported through Hungary to Ukraine. Whether or not one agrees with Orban's stance is immaterial when we consider what the EU should be doing. Can it side with an outside country over two of its own members? Should it be so unfazed when a country's oil supplies are disrupted during an election in mid-winter, especially when Brussels assumes more and more powers to, quote, safeguard democracy and take over competency in foreign policy. Well, here to discuss all of this is the head of policy at MCC Brussels, who have just launched the Democracy Interference Observatory to track the EU's undemocratic overreach. Jacob Reynolds joins me now. So Jacob, thank you so much for joining us here on GB News Originals. Before we get into our wider conversation about EU interfering in the elections and the internal affairs of its member states against its own spelled out remit, I think it's important to outline why this matters. A good example would be this Iran crisis. I mean, the EU has tried to take lots of power in terms of foreign policy from its member states, but as soon as the crisis hits, the EU has nothing to say, nothing that it can do. Ursula von der Leyen has been ridiculed the world around because, you know, she said, I'll have a meeting about it on Monday, and we've seen the French actually come out and lead this European response. Does that outline the same thing to you? That, you know, it's ridiculous for the EU to try and take this kind of competence.
Yeah, well, I think there's two important things going on here. The first is that the attempt by the EU to take these kinds of competencies in defence, which we have to remember is very novel in the history of the EU, and it's only really since Russia's invasion of Ukraine that the EU kind of pretended that it had a right to act in this thing. And there's two things going on. First, there's an enormous gap between rhetoric and reality, which makes the EU just look stupid. So the EU is not a nation state. It can't act as a foreign policy player. It doesn't have an army, thank God. But so there's this enormous gap between rhetoric and reality, which just makes all of these kind of pretensions and statements look weaker. And there's a kind of, it's almost like a psychological thing that if you talk big but don't know anything to back it up, it just makes you look smaller than if you'd have just kept your mouth shut to begin with. But secondly, it's obviously very, very dangerous because the EU is wading into global politics at a level that it knows it can't back up, and so it risks firstly taking power away from where it should be exercised in the nation states of Europe, in the member states, but also risks kind of making all the situation worse because it has this pretext. And we see this to some degree in Ukraine, where the EU makes these enormous promises to the Ukrainians and then can't back them up, which arguably has kind of led to or kind of intensified the dynamic around the war, because other countries think that they're dealing with a significant player, because the European Union does have some significant powers, but in the end it's not able to back them up. So it's both kind of exposes the EU's ridiculousness, but also leads us down quite a dangerous path.
I mean, we said bringing them all here. You want boots on ground, stop Russia from the frame. But yes, we don't seem to send all these illegal immigrants going to Ukraine to desperate on the boat with their life.
She has connections around the world, which I don't think anyone thought that she didn't have access to speaking to people. It's just if there's anything to back that up. And it seems as though
there might be a couple of rivers
the EU coming together, they can create this bubble. And reality gets locked outside of it. Do you think that the EU, in a way, has the fact that it exists in the way that it does, has actually contributed to the fact that Europe has become strategically militarily weak?
Well, very weak.
Well, there's two things buried in there. The first is that the EU becomes so addicted to rhetoric and these phone calls and these statements and whatever. And this has actually kind of blinded itself to the real world. So it's like encased itself in a bubble of its own rhetoric, as you say. Reality doesn't find a way in, and it just makes the situation worse, right? And secondly, as you indicate, I mean, policies promoted by the European Union have contributed in a significant extent to the weakness of Europe. We have to talk about the energy policies which have been pursued by the EU and lots of the nations that have already pushed by the EU of phasing out fossil fuels, and tax on nuclear power, etc., etc. So these have made Europe weaker. And we have to remember, right, that Ursula von der Leyen, before she became European
Union
president,
an oil confinement built in the Southern
Island, chiefly for her role in various scandals.
Well, from Southern Ireland, where America is, where America, where Donald Trump put that shit in the Southern Irish invasion of Ukraine, basically no military capability whatsoever. So it's very much the case that these European Union politicians pursued policies, and we should add to this, right, the fact that they constantly demonise national-oriented policies, which defence has to be. So the whole approach of the EU has very much contributed to the weakness that the European nation-states find themselves in. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's one thing to hand over that competency if you at least think that they're going to act in your interest, but one thing that we're watching play out at the moment, which isn't really being covered too much in the UK, is this row between Slovakia and Hungary on one side, with Ukraine and Zelensky on the other. There's a Druzhba pipeline that transports oil from Russia into Hungary, and the supply stopped in January. Now, Ukraine said that was due to maintenance issues, and then a week ago or 2 weeks ago it was blown up. And a row ensued between Orban and Zelensky, which has continued to escalate. Now, we could park that, but we need to look at the European response here. They actually came down on the side of Zelensky. And a lot of people are watching that, and many Brits who watch us right now will be sympathetic to Ukraine and Zelensky, and they will say, why is Orban buying Russian oil, even though his argument is, his economy depends on it, he's negotiated with Donald Trump that he can do that. And so in response, he has used his leverage, which Zelensky's using his leverage with the pipeline, and Orban's using his leverage by saying, okay, we're going to block a loan to you. And the EU at the time said, we're not really fazed by Ukraine blocking this pipeline. Croatia, another EU state, said, we're not going to reroute the oil through Croatia. But then Iran happens, and all of a sudden, the EU is demanding that Ukraine allow inspectors to check their narrative on the pipeline, and Croatia all of a sudden says we can transport
well, we're on the side of Ukraine,
the oil.
we're paying for Ukraine, then we better send all these things to Ukraine.
Has the EU, with this mishap, shown its hand that it was trying to influence the Hungarian election?
All these Muslims and all these
there's lots going on there, and you give a very helpful overview, but to take a step back, first we should just note that it's odd, it's unusual. You've got an alliance of states like the European Union, and they are engaged in a kind of open warfare against their own member states, in the case of Hungary and often Slovakia under the previous government, Poland. And then this is very much evidenced by the fact that in this dispute between Ukraine and Hungary, which, as you say, people can have their own opinions on and their own opinions on Ukraine, But
by
the
someone
EU
that's
should be
not
promoting the interests of its member
corrupted.
states. It should be
And an
straightforwardly
English
saying, well, if Hungary, one of our member states, has this energy security need to have this oil, then we should be siding with them. You'd expect that the kind of members of the club, as it were, get priority compared to people who are outside of the club. So that's very unusual. And then the broader thing going on at the moment is that we've got an election coming up in Hungary.
What we need in the UK.
It's very clear which side of that election the European Union is on. European Union institutions, major politicians, make no secret of the fact that they are desperate to unseat Viktor Orban in this election, and they will provide rhetorical and institutional support to his challenger. And so in that context, it's only natural to ask the question, well, was this one of the things that was being used as leverage in this situation? Because as I say, it's really no secret that they want to see the end of war. Maybe we'll get a chance to go into exactly how they plan to do that, because they've got a
Southern
playbook
Irish
at the ready. But it does make
We've
you
got
ask
the
that
Southern
question,
Irish
it's no
sea
secret here.
going
Everybody
from
knows that
Ireland
hate
to
Orban.
fucking
Orban is
America
persona non
to
grata,
build an open
of
refinery
the
there.
European
And
Union.
don't tell me
Here
they
in
can't be
Brussels,
done, because I've
probably
already
the
looked it up.
hated man.
And it can be, it
And
could
so
have been done after the
it'd only be
Second World
logical,
War.
natural for them
But they
to
decided
create
they
a
want to
situation
go for
that
all
made it
this
more
global
difficult to be elected.
bullshit rather than building
The
another
US
open refinery.
GOP Judiciary Committee came out
Probably because of the cost at the time,
maybe
maybe because of the cost.
both in the US and
Yeah,
in the
you know,
EU. A lot of it surrounded.
we're way over here, yeah.
the
Ireland's
use
over
of
there,
the Digital
yeah.
Services Act and the regulations, the powers that it gives the EU.
We're not even in that
There was
circle there.
reports that
We're way over there.
made TikTok censor some discourse around the Slovakian election with anyone who was saying there was only two genders, things like that.
Only two genders and all of
interference
this.
or the modes that the EU is deploying to undermine Orban in Hungary, is that mainly around regulations, or is there sort of other networks?
Now they're trying to get into Poland.
Yeah,
Poland
so
and Hungary,
the
because
EU,
they've
as it were, has, I
blocked
think,
all their borders up. They
but the
blocked
three
the
most
borders,
important tools that they
Poland and
have that have
Hungary.
been identified by
We've got no fucking
work there.
illegal
We've done a lot of it, work on that here at MCC Brussels. They're three tools. The first is, as you say, the policing of speech online. And the EU has created one of the most extensive speech policing online apparatuses in the entire world. The Digital Services Act, the Digital Markets Act, a whole host of associated regulations.
Deep in the country, they still
speech in the
probably
EU
sort
more
it
tightly
out. But
policed
on the
than
outside
in
of
many
everything,
places, and indeed even more so than in many authoritarian regimes. So their control of what you say online is really quite extensive, and it gives them a huge amount of power to influence events across the European Union and indeed
that's the way
beyond.
we should be.
The second part is
Stop
more
being
straightforward
moany.
institutional pressure. So Hungary is in long-running series of disputes over access to EU funds that it's entitled to, and the EU has withdrawn them, sanctioned them, fined them, various things, whether that's about migration, some rule of law issues, etc., etc. And they made no secret of the fact that many of these problems that Hungary faces with access to EU funds will go away if Orban's challenger succeeds. And this is exactly the same thing that they did in Poland, where after Donald Tusk's victory in the parliamentary elections in Poland, the EU immediately released large sums of money without Donald Tusk having changed anything in Poland. So they claimed that there was a rule of law issue, there were problems with the courts, etc., etc. They didn't even wait for Donald Tusk to begin any of the reforms before releasing the funds. It's clear they use these funds as leverage to provide kind of input into the election, basically saying to the electorate, if you choose our approved candidate, we'll flood your country with money. And then the third thing at their disposal is, as you say, networks of NGOs, and the EU funds to the tune of billions of euros non-governmental organisations in countries, and these countries and these NGOs focus most extensively on what the EU considers to be the problem countries, like Poland, like Hungary, like Slovakia, the countries that are considered to be too backward, to have too strong an emphasis on the traditional families, to not be kind of au fait enough with gender identity, etc., etc. And the activities of these NGOs are very, very extensive. They engage in training campaigns, they're involved in schools, teaching teachers. They're involved in also in the policing of speech online, that element that I mentioned earlier. They have privileged access under the Digital Services Act to demand that content is removed. And these NGOs play a really crucial role in shaping elections. They basically pay academic activists to kind of be on the ground in countries trying to shape the future of these countries. So that's an enormous apparatus. When it comes to Hungary, what we've seen so far is that the institutional components is very, very strong, as I mentioned. There's these funds that everybody suspects or is kind of let known that the opposition candidate will have access to if he were to win.
Yeah, no one can have access to it apart from the criminals hackers.
As well, and we're seeing efforts by the fact-checking arm of the Digital Services Act. We're seeing lots of efforts around that in Hungary. But at the moment, it seems that most of the effort is very much institutional and NGOs.
Fact-check their own arms.
We've also seen a row opening up between X and there's a court in Germany that was suing X for data on the Hungarian election. And when you look at the organisation that's suing them, it's funded by the EU and the German government. A lot of the polls in Hungary, people are not trusting them, and then it turns out that more than 50% of the polls there are funded by the EU. You know, we can't...
The Goffer family, the royal family, our Goffer family from Germany, the blue ones from England, the fucking their bomb in our country.
Yeah, the EU's funding of these NGOs is really instrumental in these two cases that you mentioned are really quite important. In this case in Berlin, where they brought this case against X, the so-called researchers who you can go on their website, Democracy Reporting International, and it's clear from even 2 seconds on their website that they're not disinterested researchers, they're not academics, they believe they have a right to kind of determine
because they don't know what they are, they don't know if they're gay, a man, or a fucking woman. That's why I think there's so many different things.
It doesn't take genius to work out that they want this data so
they can provide a particular narrative. They want to
so they can find evidence of Russian bots or American manipulation. They're not disinterested researchers at all. And as you say, they are funded in large part by the EU, in large part by the Dutch and German governments. And so this is not, again, the idea of a non-governmental organisation almost entirely funded by government is just a complete contradiction in terms. And then similarly, these polling organisations, so large of these polling organisations receiving EU funds, it's clear that there's an attempt to manufacture a narrative that the opposition candidate is miles ahead in this election. And one worries that the aim of this, which as far as we can tell, there's very little kind of really reliable polling. It's very difficult, but from the polls that are available, it seems that their polls are kind of way out there, and they're also going to assume mad things like 90% turnout in order to justify their figures, etc.
And we're seeing God.
There's a danger
Don't talk about
what's going on is that
data,
they're attempting to manufacture a narrative that says
the narrative and the
way
number.
behind in the polls,
But
then the
don't
election
talk
comes
sense
in,
do
and let's
that.
assume in the event that
You're going on, mate. I can't even listen. It's just going on. Can you understand what he's saying? Can anyone understand what the fuck he's going on about? Because he's twisting and turning and going on and on and on. Like, you can just not understand it, can you? You can't understand that bullshit. It's bullshit. Isn't it bullshit? Whatever they were going on about then, that was just complete.
Blessings, my friends and family. ADS here, and today we have a few stories to go through, but we're going to start off with this one. I have some actual footage of an event that happened yesterday, a situation, an atrocity, which, thank God, failed. But it is regarding this. A Muslim terrorist just threw a nail bomb at Jake Lang. Jake is in New York for an anti-Islamic invasion march when a homemade nail bomb was thrown at him and his friends. Luckily, the device did not explode. And here's the clip.
Oh, they're trying to kill him now because he's telling them straight.
Somebody threw a fucking bomb, bro. No, man, that was a nail bomb. See that? That's a nail bomb. Shit. What's the nail bomb? Oh, fuck. Yeah, that was a nail bomb. Jesus is king, and he made that nail bomb didn't go off. Jesus is king. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you, Lord God. They threw a nail bomb at us and it didn't explode because Jesus is still on the throne. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Let's go another one. Let's get the dope. Someone's got to
Wow. The police aren't doing anything. But the police ain't doing nothing. Where are the police in front? Where are the police? And that's in America, there's no police there. In America, they're like that. What, in America like that? On the street like that?
In New York, they just threw a bomb at us. Holy shit. God is still alive. Jesus is still king.
Oh, mate, you want protection? Get protected right away, man. Is that Rupert Lowe?
So thank God that it didn't actually explode, but we have some more information coming out about this now, which I would like to show you. And things are escalating rapidly in the United States and across the Western world. And everybody needs to be aware of this because it seems to always be connected to the same ideology. And there has to be a reason for that.
With Elon Musk.
Identified as Amir Balat, an 18-year-old man, lit and threw an ignited device toward the protest area, landing in the crosswalk of East 87th Street and East End Avenue. Witnesses reported seeing flames and smoke as it traveled through the air before it struck a barrier and extinguished itself a few feet from police officers. Mr. Balat then ran southbound on East End Avenue toward 86th Street and gets a second device from a man tentatively ID'd as Ibrahim Nick, 19 years old. Mr. Balat lights the device and starts running with it. He then drops the device on the west side of East End Avenue between East 86th and East 87th Streets. Officers immediately secured the area and they took both men into custody. This was all captured on NYPD Argus camera.
So yeah, those are the details surrounding this event, and here is a close-up image of the device that was thrown towards the American citizens whilst they was protesting out against Islam. Now, it's been confirmed that the people who threw the device were in fact Muslims, and here they are. These are the two people, as you can see, they are holding the device right here. And this tweet says, "I'm so sick of this. Jake Lang held an anti-Islam protest today in New York City, and two Muslims tossed an IED at him. We have been force-fed this lie that Islam is a religion of peace. Yet time and time again, they prove otherwise. And also, if you read their books for yourself, you will see that it's not very peaceful at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite to peace. They are clearly not peaceful. They are clearly not here to assimilate. They are here to divide, outnumber, subjugate, and spread Islam. That's it. They don't give a damn about peace or democracy or the American dream. Deport these bloodthirsty parasites before it's too late. They don't deserve to be here." Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. And if you're watching live, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, because we have a few more stories to go through, and your support greatly helps. For those of you who don't know, Zoran Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, who was supposed to be containing things like this, he is also a Muslim. And recently, news and information came out explaining that his wife was actually a supporter of the terrorist attacks on October 7th. And here is him being questioned about it.
Is it anybody's business, and is it fair to question you about it?
And his wife.
You know, my
wife
is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall. I, however, was elected to represent all 8.5 million people of the city,
and I
believe it's my responsibility because of that vote to answer any questions about my thoughts and my policies.
Keep it going.
So in other words, he didn't respond to the question, which is typical, and it kind of shows his position pretty obviously. Now, there was also an event that took place on a plane in Nashville that nobody seems to be talking about, but I want to show you this footage because it's genuinely shocking. Laura Luma posted, Southwest Airlines Flight 2094 from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale, Florida was forced to divert to Atlanta late last night after an Arabic-looking Muslim passenger on board the plane threatened to blow the plane up with a bomb. I mean, this is happening so close to each other, these events. And why is it always Muslims? it seems, right? Something strange going on. You can see the SWAT team apprehend the Muslim passengers, while terrified passengers were forced to put their hands up. Zero media coverage, share this everywhere. And then she goes on to say, deport all Muslims from America. If you were on this flight, please DM me. And here's the footage.
No, that's why I call them orangutan gone wrong, mate. Because I don't want to call them a person. Because I don't see them as a person. I don't see them as anybody black or anybody that I know from them places. I just don't, they don't even look like the human to me. And then why is it always then a Muslim people? Why is it always orangutan gone wrong or Muslim people? Why is it not ever, well, let me say, why is it never a Japanese man?
So another Muslim on a plane doing that.
Japan
and in
China?
the United Kingdom, I also have another video to show you on a plane in a moment. But before we do that, I want to show you what has been happening in the United Kingdom. Because late last night in Ballards Lane in Finchley, which is close to where I actually used to live in London, an anti-IRGC protester was stabbed multiple times in the stomach by a pro-Ayatollah and pro-Hezbollah thug and is currently in hospital. Now, I can't show you the footage of him in hospital because it's too graphic, but sadly he is in a bad way. And you see the blood in the streets. The attacker, 25, was arrested. And here is footage from that day.
I've got everything on me, can't go anywhere, I can't go nowhere. And then I'm not even safe in the house. Not safe in the house. I can't go, they go come in front of the door. And this person's putting for a run. Many people. Someone stabbed someone to death. A Muslim again. Yeah, a Muslim again. It's got to be because it stabbed someone Arabian down or something. Oh my god. But mate, no mistake. Well, I've already found mine in my sister's place. Now my sister don't believe me. Well, I do believe me, I just want my money back off the fucking government, well, some part of it back. Don't know how I'm going to get that back, but I'll have to find it, won't I, somehow? I'll have to find it. Just doing it on purpose, I took over the country, I took over the world. Taking over the world, don't look at the state of this. It's everywhere, it's in England, everywhere. This is why I can get points.
So there you go, that was the footage from Finchley yesterday after the person who was protesting against the terrorist regime was stabbed. It is absolutely unbelievable at this point. And, you know, this footage here is from a while back, but why is it always the same cult, the same ideology involved in these things?
He's God! He's God! What the fuck? Take him out! Take the fucker out of a sting razor, mate! Put him to sleep!
Sit down.
There's something very wrong going on in the world, and recently I've actually strengthened my position against Islam, because before I was saying, you know, Islam is definitely a dangerous ideology, but we should deport the illegals first, and etc, etc. But now I personally believe that it simply needs to be banned as an ideology in the West completely, because it is getting way out of hand. And let me know if you agree with that. But to me now, my position seems to be getting stronger and stronger against Islam politically, because it's a danger to society, it's a danger to civilization. And look, now people are genuinely getting harassed just because they don't want to take part in Ramadan when they're not even a Muslim.
How come you're eating, boss? It's Ramadan, boss. Huh? It's Ramadan. This is no good. Ramadan. Muslim. I know, brother. That's right. You're Muslim, eh? No. You sure? I think so. You are. This Ramadan now. No way, Ramon.
What are you doing?
Romania is not.
From Romania.
You sure? Brother, please, yeah, because it's very big trouble.
That's where they're trying to attack next.
Okay? Please don't be eating in Ramadan, yeah? Please, because, you know, really bad.
Albania.
You know what I mean? We're not part of their cult. We can do whatever we want. But now they're going up to normal people in society and telling them not to eat during Ramadan. It's absolutely unreal. I mean, look at how many things have happened in such a short period of time. Muslim shoots up a bar in Austin, Texas. Did a live stream on that a few days ago. Muslim lights Molotov cocktail to throw at Christians in New York City. Muslim throws nail bomb at Christians in New York City. Muslim tries to bomb a passenger plane from Nashville to Fort Lauderdale.
That's the sleeper
This
cell
week.
waking up.
This is all this week.
Yeah, but it's
And what is the common denominator? Every one of those people involved in those situations were Muslim. I mean, it's not hateful to point out these facts, but we've been pushed into like a corner where we're threatened if we point out these facts. We're apparently Islamophobic or something for pointing out these facts. Look, this is Europe. Once again, Muslims just not integrating into society.
Échec!
Vous je détruis une partie d'échec.
Échec! Yes! Échec et what?
Yeah, they're weirdos. They're genuinely weird people. I mean, I don't know if you know about this. This is a very, very weird thing in the Islamic world that most people are not educated about. And I learned about this a few months ago. And I showed you some footage back then. But recently there's more footage coming out, posted by Muslims. They think this is cool or something. But basically, one of the main rituals in Islam, many people don't know this, during pilgrimage to Mecca, is stoning a wall that represents Satan. Many Muslims believe Satan actually lives in Mecca. These are the people who call Christians and Jews inferior. Yeah, take a look at this. It's unbelievable. I thought this was a skit, but this is legit.
Why do we never see a Muslim slicing a fucking rat's head off? They create all the rats and cockroaches, but they like to live among them.
You can't convince me that this is not a 7th century cult.
Look at the state vibe. They like to live among that, yeah. Look how untidy they are. Look how dirty they are. Look, you're dirty.
You cannot convince me otherwise. Look, they're pretending to shoot it with an umbrella. I mean, what is going on? And this is what we've imported into the Western world, into civilization. And people expect these types of people to integrate. And that's how they think. This has nothing to do with hate. It has to do with logic. It has to do with facts. It has to do with reality, safety, peace, right? And now we have this happening in the United Kingdom. That is not being published anywhere. I've got an entire video to show you on it. But it's not being published anywhere. But apparently, 98 brand new units in Chelmsford, on-site priority, GP, daily cleaners, and even free dentists, all paid for by you for illegal foreign men. Welcome to King William Court. And that was posted by Britain's Brokers. Illegal migrants are living in luxury apartments. I mean, the other week, before I even play this video, I had to drive to London to get my tooth fixed because I broke my tooth. And do you know how much it costed me? £450. That's how much it costed me. And I have to go back because the thing that I bit, I broke the tooth on both sides of my mouth. So I have to go back in 2 weeks to do the other side. And these people are getting that type of treatment for free. Do you see how crazy this is? Look, take a look.
All free. It's all not in English no more. Look, can't get an appointment for anything because all Muslims are take away. Look,
Yeah, come from TBP.
Yeah, this is why I can't get an appointment for
TBP.
all.
Hello.
So these come up at me?
Pardon me? Nice little building complex here, isn't it? Yeah. Come to do a little inspection today. This is all the Home Office stuff.
Can I see your ID, please?
My ID. Please scan the barcode to request a GP appointment. That's all you've got to do in a place like this, guys. That's all you need to do here.
On YouTube and recording it on me.
Scan the QR code to give your feedback about your stay. The head office, this lift is out of order. These are all flats down here.
Look at this.
So they've been given luxury accommodation in the United Kingdom. Free GP, free dentist.
And this is why I can't get fucking dentist. This is why I can't go to the dentist. I don't get anything, Natalie. Thank you.
You've got illegal working things up here, right? like illegal work and stuff. So they seem to be on it here. Only in foreign language, this stuff. This is all the leaflets. Living in an initial conversation.
Stuff. I don't watch football.
Can I take some of these leaflets?
Fucking
You mean outsiders not
what's
allowed?
going on? These people have been
You've
stabbed
got
to
many
death.
outsiders in here, I believe, sir. Stop the hate, report hate crime, hello?
Yeah, so report hate crime. And what is a hate crime nowadays in the UK? Criticizing things. Yeah, apparently criticizing certain things is hateful. It's unbelievable.
And what's really
How are you?
I don't watch football.
Yeah, I'm good. Are you living in here? What's it like in here? What's the rooms like?
It's very comfortable.
Very comfortable. Yeah. Where did you come from? What country?
Actually, I'm Kuwaiti and Turkish.
Yeah, okay.
I passed from France to United.
Did you come? Oh, you come on a dinghy?
Yeah, sure.
On a boat? Yeah. And how long have you been in here for?
2 months.
3.
You hear that? He's admitting that he came here on a boat illegally. And he's been there for 3 months.
He's gay. He's fucking gay, Sam gay. He's a faggot.
Yes.
And he's smiling, laughing.
Old camp store.
Yeah.
This place.
Okay.
Yeah, came on Rupert Lowe. Yeah, give you a round of applause. Stand across the sea, Rupert Lowe.
I can talk with him. Why can't I talk with him?
Hooray! Give him a round of
What's
fucking
your room like?
applause.
Can I have a look?
Oh yeah, and shout out to the guy who did record this. I believe his name is A Audits. So yeah, shout out to him. But it wasn't posted on his channel. It was on the Twitter thing. But it probably is on his channel as well. Just to credit the film.
Yeah, he is. I've heard him play pretty good.
Yeah, sure.
Show me. Yeah, take a picture of that, yeah?
He is good, him. The guy that does this stuff.
Hospital.
Guy
You're
that does
allowed
all the
people in,
audio.
guests?
Yeah.
You're allowed to have guests?
He does audio.
Oh, brilliant. Show me a room, then.
If you are still refusing to get there's different people that do different things in the YouTube world. It is. Pretty cool. Some of them are failing.
Do you want me to sign in the book?
Like Bevel the Beaver.
I can sign it. I'm not recording at the moment.
A bit of Tommy
It's not
Robson's a
recording.
bit of a...
No, not now. Not now.
He's so funny.
Tommy Robson once came as a bit like Donald Trump.
What are you
Don't
looking
know where
for?
you're coming and going with him.
Oh, your teeth.
You don't know
You
where
need
you're
the
going.
hospital
You
for
don't
teeth.
know where you stand.
Okay, show me the floor. What floor are you on? Yeah, no problem. I've already signed.
Wow. So he's gonna get to have his teeth done for free.
This
Brilliant,
guy's
right?
alright, this guy.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. He's only young as well.
So this is the middle part. This gentleman's kindly offered to show me his room.
Like young Bobby, he goes
Yeah,
out
no
and he
problem,
got
thank
bastard to
you.
a guy
I
and I was
appreciate
so
it.
scared to him. I thought, fucking, I don't believe that. Because that could happen to young Bob, they could stab him to death. Oh my god. No, come on. It's silly though, that's just bad.
Wait, he says remember this one? He has his sleeping on his windows open. Really?
I know that was any harm to this faggot. He's a gay man, he's gay.
Yeah, oh,
He's
brilliant.
gay.
Change
He's
bedding.
definitely a faggot.
They
He's
clean
gay.
they clean the kitchen.
The way he's
Kitchen.
talking.
The living.
They got a kitchen in there?
Yeah,
He's a bit
Okay.
of
kitchen, they clean their
a... He's
own
probably a bit of
Okay.
a goody
What about
doo
clothes?
actually. He's actually...
They clean the clothes?
he might be...
What?
No,
They
he's
clean
not
the clothes or
genuine, he's a
anything?
fucking...
There's a
he's not
washing machine.
genuine.
There's a washing machine inside. They give all the washing machine.
Some is
Oh, this is nice, isn't it?
Look at this, look at that. Look at that.
Alright,
He's
buddy.
not
Wow,
having to
look
slip
at
out
that.
live.
This is good, isn't it?
Can't that.
Heating's on full blast. Oh, this is nice, right? Lovely.
Not bad.
It's not
Better
bad
than
little
I've got.
spot.
Don't
Wow.
like
And
it.
you get washing machine and cooker.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's bigger. That's bigger than my apartment. They getting that for free?
Microwave. He's from Kuwait.
I have a quite actor.
They
Yeah.
put them all in this HMS though.
It's very hot in here though, very warm.
Very warm, my friend.
Where's the toilet?
There's 2 toilets. My
2 toilets?
Yeah.
my friend's toilet is here.
Oh, what, you shared this with somebody?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and what is he
So
like?
they let him clean up.
Is he okay?
Yeah, sure.
Is
Yeah.
he gay as well?
I just good people.
Is the boy
Yeah, you do good
gay
people,
as
yeah.
well?
Did you get
No, that's one not what we're making babies.
Not bad,
That
very spot.
might be why they're giving them all these hormone things
Right.
and making
Thank you, sir.
babies, certain ones. These from
Wow.
certain-
Thank you very much.
Wow. The police. Did you see that was the police coming for him? Look.
Yeah.
All the security. I'm sprinting up there like he was robbing the place.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Thank you very much.
To come and get him out.
What is going on? They really don't want people knowing this, do they? They really don't. They really don't. Anyway, another story, by the way, coming out of Bradford. This man here apparently murdered this entire family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rest in peace to them. But I want to tell you this information here. It says Muslim man sentenced to whole life term for murdering mother and her 3 children in Bradford. It was part of his plan to wipe out their whole family, he said. Wow.
Death penalty.
This is why I think a debate on the death penalty should happen. This is according to Basil the Great. Why should we pay to keep these monsters alive?
Death penalty him, mate.
Bryony Gowith, 29, and her 3 children. Destiny, maybe it was meant to be Destiny, aged 9, Oscar, aged 5, and Aubrey Birtwell, aged 22 months, were buried alive when their family home was deliberately set on fire on Westbury Road, Bradford, on August 2024. The court heard he planned a revenge attack on Bryony's sister, Antonia Gowith, who was staying at the house after she ended their relationship. Sentencing Ali at Doncaster Crown Court, Judge Hilliard Casey said he was motivated by revenge and sexual jealousy. These are the monsters that are being allowed into our country with their insane ideologies, murdering British people, and being given free accommodation on many occasions. We've witnessed it. It's unbelievably